The rain poured relentlessly from the gray afternoon sky as a woman stood alone outside a luxury office tower, clutching a single suitcase. Just hours earlier, she had been one of the most powerful CEOs in the city. She had wealth, influence, and a life most people could only dream of. But now, her hands trembled, her eyes were swollen with tears, and she had nowhere to go. Hundreds of people walked past her. No one stopped. No one asked if she was okay. Then a black single father who worked in the building looked at her, saw the pain she was trying so desperately to hide, and made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to Heartwarming Tales for more inspiring stories that remind us of the goodness still left in this world. The city of Charlotte was alive with the warmth of a bright spring afternoon. Office workers filled the sidewalks, traffic moved steadily through downtown streets, and life seemed normal to everyone except Zara Kensington. At 42 years old, Zara was the founder and CEO of a technology company worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Business magazines praised her intelligence. Investors admired her leadership. Employees respected her determination. But success often hides loneliness. For years, Zara had sacrificed everything for her career. Long hours became normal. Relationships faded. Friendships disappeared. Family connections weakened. She convinced herself that achievement would eventually fill the emptiness she felt inside. Instead, the higher she climbed, the lonelier she became. Then everything collapsed. A trusted business partner secretly manipulated company finances, triggering investigations, lawsuits, and public scandal. Though Zara had done nothing wrong, investors panicked. The board removed her as CEO while legal matters unfolded. Within days, her world fell apart. The luxury penthouse she leased belonged to the company. Her access to corporate accounts was frozen. Former friends stopped answering calls. People who once praised her suddenly disappeared. For the first time in her adult life, Zara discovered how quickly success could vanish. That afternoon, carrying only a suitcase and a handbag, she stood outside the building that had once been her kingdom. She had nowhere to stay. Nowhere she truly belonged. Across the street, a man named Malcolm Reed noticed her. Malcolm worked as a maintenance supervisor in the same office complex. At 38, he lived a simple life focused entirely on raising his 9-year-old daughter, Nia. 5 years earlier, Malcolm's wife had passed away following complications from a sudden illness. The loss shattered him. For months, grief followed him everywhere. But every morning, he looked into his daughter's eyes and found a reason to continue. Being a single father wasn't easy. He woke before dawn each day. Prepared breakfast. Walked Nia to school. Worked long shifts. Returned home to help with homework, cook dinner, and create a life filled with love despite their limited resources. Money was often tight. Life was exhausting. But their small apartment overflowed with warmth. Something about Zara's expression stopped Malcolm in his tracks. He recognized that look. The look of someone carrying more pain than they could hide. As days passed, he occasionally saw her sitting alone at a nearby cafe, carefully stretching the little money she had left. She seemed smaller somehow, as though the weight of disappointment was slowly crushing her spirit. One afternoon, a sudden storm swept through the city. Rain hammered the streets. Wind rattled windows. Malcolm was leaving work when he spotted Zara sitting beneath a bus shelter with her suitcase beside her. She looked exhausted. Defeated. Broken. And in that moment, Malcolm made a choice many people would have been afraid to make. He offered her a place to stay. Not because he expected anything in return. Not because he knew who she had once been. But because another human being needed help. At first, Zara resisted. Pride made accepting difficult. She had spent her entire life being the one who solved problems. Being vulnerable felt terrifying. Yet reality left few options. That evening, she followed Malcolm to a modest apartment building several miles from downtown. The building wasn't impressive. The furniture wasn't expensive. The rooms were small. But something inside that home immediately felt different. It felt alive. Photographs covered the walls. Children's drawings decorated the refrigerator. Laughter filled the air. Love lived there. Nia welcomed Zara with the natural kindness only children possess. Within hours, the little girl was showing her favorite books, talking about school projects, and proudly introducing every stuffed animal she owned. For the first time in weeks, Zara smiled. A real smile. Not the practiced smile she wore during board meetings. A genuine one. Days turned into weeks. As legal investigations continued, Zara remained in Malcolm's apartment. She expected the arrangement to feel awkward. Instead, she found herself becoming part of a family. Every morning began with breakfast around the kitchen table. Every evening ended with stories, laughter, and conversations about life. The simple routines slowly healed wounds she hadn't realized existed. Meanwhile, Malcolm continued working tirelessly. He never complained. Never boasted. Never asked for recognition. Watching him amazed Zara. Here was a man carrying enormous responsibilities with far fewer resources than she had ever possessed. Yet he seemed happier than many executives she knew. One evening, while helping Nia with homework, Zara noticed something remarkable. The little girl absolutely adored her father. Not because he was wealthy. Not because he was powerful. But because he showed up every day. Because he listened. Because he cared. Because he loved without conditions. The realization struck Zara deeply. She had spent years chasing success while neglecting the relationships that truly mattered. For the first time, she understood what genuine wealth looked like. Then came another challenge. A news report publicly linked Zara to the corporate scandal despite ongoing investigations proving her innocence. Social media erupted with criticism. Reporters appeared outside the apartment complex. The pressure returned. Fear resurfaced. Old wounds reopened. Zara considered leaving to protect Malcolm and Nia from unwanted attention. But Malcolm refused to let her face the storm alone. He reminded her through actions, not words, that people deserve support during their darkest moments. Weeks later, the truth finally emerged. Investigators exposed the real culprit behind the fraud. Every accusation against Zara collapsed. Her name was cleared completely. Public opinion shifted overnight. News outlets apologized. Investors sought her return. Job offers flooded in. Suddenly, the world wanted Zara back. Yet something had changed. The woman who once measured success through profits and headlines now understood life differently. She accepted a leadership role with a new company but promised herself she would never again sacrifice human connection for professional achievement. More importantly, she refused to forget the family who helped her when she had nothing. Months later, Zara established a foundation supporting single parents struggling with housing, childcare, and financial hardship. The foundation's first major program carried a special name: the Nia Reid Family Initiative. Thousands of families eventually received assistance through programs inspired by Malcolm's compassion. One sunny afternoon, nearly a year after their first meeting, the foundation hosted a community celebration in a city park. Families gathered beneath blue skies. Children laughed across open fields. Volunteers shared meals. Hope filled the air. As Zara stood on stage addressing the crowd, she looked toward Malcolm and Nia sitting together in the front row. Her eyes filled with tears. Because she knew a simple act of kindness